This is 91.1 The Avenue. I'm Amanda Sharon, joined now by singer-songwriter Michael Shynes. Michael, welcome.
Thanks so much for having me. It's great to be here.
Absolutely. And you are actually coming to our neck of the woods. You're going to be performing on Wednesday as part of the Gather on Broadway's Farmers Market series, downtown Green Bay in the Broadway district. We're so excited to welcome you to Green Bay. I know you've played Mile of Music in the past in Appleton, and you're Midwest singer-songwriter as well. So you definitely have a lot of roots here. But what can people expect for the show on Wednesday?
I think you can expect something that, that will connect to the heart for sure, and that will be full of soulful flavors. And then I'm also going to be accompanied by one of my favorite human beings, David Charles Sutton on violin. David has been on the Grand Ole Opry stage. He's been at Radio City Music Hall. He's toured with national artists. He plays as the Vikings come out of the tunnel. I know Packers fans won't be happy to hear that. But on Sundays. And so David has been a blessing to me and my music, and the two of us together are able to, I feel, do something really special on stage and connect to people while also doing something very engaging. So it should be a really fun time.
Awesome. And, speaking of the Vikings, you're based in Minnesota. Can you tell me a little bit about your musical background, how you got started in the music industry?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I was from a small town in Minnesota, so it was really trudging uphill. I remember the first gig I played in the Twin Cities was at an Applebee's that my buddy managed. And so it's been a long road. But basically, I got to college. I was singing in a band. I didn't really like the kind of music we were making, so I bought a computer mic and some recording software and just got addicted to recording myself over and over again. I would play any show I possibly could. And so I was playing like 90, 100 times in 90 days of summer, some years, and just playing an incredible amount of shows. And then I had the success overseas in Poland, where a song I sang vocals for and sent to this Polish pop group over there ended up going triple platinum. And then so I ended up getting to sing for 70,000 people over there. The music video that they made became the most streamed music video on YouTube in the history of any Polish artist. And so it launched this thing that then trickled back to Minnesota. And so I was able to sell out a couple theater shows and build my base more on ticketing and my own original music. And that's kind of where we are now. And so I'm getting back to all those roots, which is my favorite part, which is original music.
So tell me about that original music, and where do you draw your inspiration from when you're writing your songs?
Yeah, so I'm kind of all over the map sometimes, but everything is kind of rooted in story. I love music to have story to it. So I usually will get some kind of natural inspiration, and whether the song is, there's a lot of folk in my music. There's a lot of even alternative country. There's some pop. There's some R&B. I definitely like to not have a show be static. I want it to kind of move up and down and be engaging, almost the way a film would, with climactic moments and then coming back down to something more subdued. And so, I think the influence comes from everywhere. My favorite songwriters are like the David Grays, the Amos Lees, the John Mayers, people that are really devoted to their instrument as well as telling a story as well as vocal performance. But in terms of my own genre, I do kind of creep everywhere, so to speak.
Right. So the show on Wednesday, it's kind of a different way of approaching a concert, and that is that Nicolay Bank has purchased tickets for concert goers in advance, in sort of the theme of paying artists for their work. How do you feel about that concept? What do you think of it?
Well, Nicolay is angelic, and I love everybody at Nicolay, and they've helped me multiple times and always been extremely generous and extremely supportive of what I'm trying to do. And I actually met them through Deuces Wild, which is friends of mine that go out and they kill it and they sell out the Meyer. And so I met them, and that doesn't surprise me that they're kind and that they're all about trying to spread the wealth as far as people being able to go see a concert but not hit their pocketbook in a hard way. And so, yeah, I'm not surprised, but I'm excited and I'm grateful, I think, is how I feel about that.
Awesome. So you've performed at many different venues and festivals, as you mentioned. Is there a particular live performance that stands out to you as like one of your favorites or most memorable?
For sure. So after the Poland success, I was able to come back and sell out a 900 seat theater with nobody else on the bill back in St. Cloud, which is where I kind of made my name and where I first started playing bars and where I went to college. And so it was still the like hair stand up on my arms when I listened to the intro of that first show where I came back from Poland, because it just Poland was great, and that's 70,000 people. It's a lot more people than what it was in St. Cloud, but St. Cloud was something that I put so much time and energy and effort, and those were like my people. That's like my community, that I had worked so hard. And I had never even played the smaller theaters in town. I just doubted myself when it came to selling tickets. So to sell out that room was probably the most special night that I've had in my career to this point, because it just felt like a culmination of a lot of different things.
Right. Yeah, that's a huge theater. I mean, wow. Almost 1,000 seats. Wow. So I know that, you and I have spoken before in the past. It's been a few years, and I did ask you about the Poland experience and the Platinum album. But for our listeners that haven't heard that story, would you mind reiterating it?
Not at all. So I had my full band, and I had a harmony singer named Megan Lacey in my band, and she said, "Michael, I know you love working in the studio as much as you love playing live, so you should get on this website called soundbetter.com. You basically put up a profile with, and then people all over the world can hire you for various projects." And so this Polish group reached out, and they were remaking this 80s classic by the Cutting Crew called "I Just Died in Your Arms Tonight," and they wanted a singer for it. And so I started tracking in my it was in my last house. It was above my garage, this little home studio I had up there. I sent them the vocal tracks. They sent me some money. It was and I thought, end of transaction. I don't know, where this is going to go, but I'm glad I made some money from it and move on. But then a couple months later, they reached back on. They said, "This is doing really, really well, and it's kind of blowing up here in Poland." And at first, they showed me the music video and all that, and I was just like, I was a little embarrassed by it because it was so far from my
Yeah.
normal folk singer songwriter stuff. I'm like, is everybody going to think I'm a sellout for doing this and whatever? And I think everybody just completely rallied behind it, and I think everybody knew how hard I had been working. And so it became this thing where I think just people were happy for me that I had this successful event, and it opened up me just knowing that my fans and my audience had my back no matter what. It allowed me to explore other genres, and yeah, like I said, over 200 million hits now on that YouTube video.
Wow.
um, and yeah, it's been a great bullet point for me to say that I'm now a platinum recording artist. That's opened a lot of doors for me as well. But it was crazy when I got off the plane in Poland. I had never met or spoken to these artists. It was all a strictly online collaboration, which is just speaks to the time that we live in now, where things like that are possible.
Right. Wow. That's so cool.
Yeah. Yes.
So, can you share any upcoming projects or plans you have for the future? What can your fans expect from you in the coming months?
Yeah, a lot of new music. I'm kind of working on an Americana alt country record with the Killer V's, who are that's Tommy V, who's the son of legendary 60s and 70s singer Bobby V, out at Rock House Studios in St. Joseph, Minnesota. We have like 20 songs in the bank, and so we're figuring out what to do with all of those. And then we're planning on doing some big festivals next summer. I'll be doing the Paramount Theater. We're on our fourth one of those, I think, and people keep selling it out every year. So that'll be fun this winter. And then we do these big. It's really cool. We called it the Haven House Concerts. During COVID, we didn't have any way of making money or playing gigs, and so we started having 40 people in our yard, spaced out, to do these concerts because we moved to this place in the country. And now last Friday we had 250 people come and see my full band out in the yard. So we have a couple more of those concerts. Wisconsin's own Chris Cruzy, who almost won The Voice season
Mhm.
15, my good friend, he will be here on July 14th. And then we have Martin Zeller from the Gear Daddies in August. So those shows will be exciting. Lots of new music, and just just having fun and trying to speak from the heart is kind of the mission statement now. I'm not trying to take the world over. I just really love the Midwest and raising up my kids. I have 3 kids and a wife and a bunch of animals out here. So I don't love being on the road
Right.
the way some people would be, you know.
Right. Awesome. Michael, thank you so much for joining me today.
Yes, thank you, Amanda. I really appreciate you doing this.
Absolutely. Singer-songwriter Michael Shynes will be in town on Wednesday at the Gather on Broadway Farmers Market Series, performing in downtown Green Bay in the Broadway district. This is 91.1 The Avenue. Nicolay Bank, a supporting partner of The Avenue.